Hey everyone, welcome to Westfallen's second devlog. It's been something like 5 or 6 months since the last one. A lot has happened to the game since then, and I just want to let you guys know what's gone on and what my plans for the future are. So let's jump into what exactly has happened since the last video. First, I've broken a ton of projects trying to build the environment, and then I learned about world partition, a way to separate your levels so that you can create bigger maps without having to load it all at once in the editor, lagging out your editor. I've learned a whole lot about animations and how to use all the different things that make up an animation blueprint and that can be used in them on making a cohesive animation. I've done a lot of design work, designing systems, characters, enemies, a lot of things, all been designed and will likely get redesigned. I've reworked some things, just about everything actually, considering how many times I've started a new project, but we'll jump into that later. You can see here I've set up a Steam page. Check out the Steam page. I got a real logo done for the studio, for Ninja Software Studio. I've begun a drone photography account, a little more personal aside. I've continued writing a lot of story for the game, and I'm up to the third act of the game. I've learned sequencer a lot more, the way cutscenes and cinematics are going on Unreal is with sequencer, and like I said, I've learned a lot about how that's done, how to make it better, how to make it look good. And finally, I've started to treat the development of this game a little more seriously, a little less hobby-esque, and more like a 9 to 5, almost. So, with that brief overview out of the way, let's dive into where the game is now and how development is going. But first, a word from our sponsor, the letter M. So, right now, we're going to go ahead and take a look at what the game looks like now. We're going to start here with the intro animation and the main menu. As you can see, the character can move around, is in a fighting stance, has animations for swinging the sword, different sounds that go with that. You can damage the enemy's health bar pops up. Here's what combat used to look like before I reworked it. However, the enemy AI is not exactly too smart. At the moment, it can follow you around, or it can just run right at you, and after it runs right at you, it can perform an animation montage. But that animation montage does nothing, and is, quite frankly, just an animation at the moment. I have yet to actually program in the logic for taking damage for the player and to damage the player on the part of the enemies. I've reworked, like I said earlier, I mentioned this again, I've reworked the way enemies work, starting with a high-level enemy class and deriving from there until I reach the final enemy that you see in front of you, just so that I can keep things a little more modular and a little more reusable on my end. And also to simplify the development of enemies, because I don't want to re-add everything in and turn on and off settings and stuff. This way I can go, enemy, arena enemy, melee, tank, and then finally the actual enemy you see in front of you. Moving on now to the map for the arena, you can see here that it's looking pretty much complete. I did feature a few moments of it in that teaser trailer that I posted a month or so ago. I'm not exactly happy with the way the area underneath the floating object turned out and how that area kind of looks and feels, and I will be working on it, reworking it until I'm more satisfied with how it looks. So another thing I reworked is the combat. Originally in this project, I had a very wide approach to how combat worked. I was implementing everything from unequipped to equipped to melee to range to magic and what have you. And for the arena mode, certainly to start, the way the story is, you don't really have access to ranged. And you in all likelihood won't have access to ranged to begin with. You might have some access to magic, but that's still in the works. I just want to finish for now the melee, but we will touch on that later. Next up, I just want to show the Steam page a little more in depth here. I had some art done by a friend. Very, very happy with the art. It looks really good, and hopefully by the time you see this video, I will have finally changed the graphic for that main banner there on the Steam page. As well, I just want to thank everyone for helping me reach 280-something wish lists. I believe it's 286. Really thankful for that. It's very motivating to see those numbers go up. And yeah, check out the Steam page, give it a wish list if you haven't already. In combination with some more Steam page updates, I would like to actually release some background images that, maybe if you're interested or you just like how it looks, you can use as a computer background, maybe as a phone background, but that begins to get into a little more difficulty for me. But yeah, I'm going to be releasing some 1080p and some 1440p wallpapers not too long from now that you can use, like I said, for your computer or what have you. Yeah, so stay tuned for that. I will be posting an announcement on Instagram and on Steam when that happens. Some more stuff that's happened since the last devlog is I've learned a whole lot more about Sequencer. If you look at the Sequencer videos from last time, you can see that, with exception in the first one, all of them kind of feel a little rigid. The water scene just kind of zooms out a little bit. The camera is physically being backed up, while the very first one that opens to reveal the logo is the most complicated one because it has animations on various characters moving, and that's when I learned that in Sequencer on the timeline you can actually have folders, which was a great help for me because that really helped me keep my stuff organized. And there's one more video that I'm forgetting, but it was also fairly simplistic overall, with maybe 5-6 things that I was tracking on the timeline. I've also learned quite a bit more about voiceover work, as you can hear in this clip.
How rude of me not to introduce myself. I've been known by many names, but you can call me Death.
I took some reference from the Doomslayer's narrator. Not really sure, I haven't gotten too far into that game, but the track 1 Dogma is where I got the inspiration for the voice. It felt really, really evil and really, really demonic and just something very, very powerful. And while I understand that in Doom that voice isn't necessarily belonging to someone who's necessarily very, very evil, for my game I thought it would be a perfect fit. So I played around in Audacity until I got those settings right. I looked up some stuff, adapted it a bit, and now I turned my voice, that sounds like this, into that with a little bit of voice work on my end, then Audacity. So yeah, my future plans for development have kind of changed a little bit. Originally, like I said, I was trying to make a really, really wide thing, all these different styles of combat, all these different states of combat, adding in a whole ton of things that are quite frankly unnecessary for the arena mode, but I wanted to do because I liked to challenge myself. So I've moved over to a system where I have a few core tenets that I want to fulfill, and once I've fulfilled those tenets, I'm simply going to release the game. I think that will make it a lot easier for me to actually be able to sit down, start something, focus on it, and put it out to you guys. You can see here in my to-do list, my Kanban board here on Notion, that I actually have a few things left to do before the game is out. Each one of those things has a bunch of subtasks. Some are easier, some are harder. I've marked them, accordingly. And yeah, once, like I said, those are done, I'll be able to release the game to the public and begin taking your feedback from there and iterating on it and improving the game. So my future plans for this channel are going to be a little more involved. I would like to start making more content that's not necessarily related just to Westfallen, but also to game development in general as an indie game dev. I want to start posting things like topics that are more abstract in nature, as well as more hard, specific things like how you do this in Unreal Engine, or maybe how you go about creating or doing whatever in Unreal Engine. And like I said, the topics that would be more abstract would include things like how to write a good villain, or how to write a good story, or how to give a good reason to even be playing the game as the player, rather than just, there's an evil, go fight it, goodbye. I want to help other indie game devs write stories that are compelling and involve the player beyond feeling like a passenger to the game. And I think that these videos would provide a great avenue for that. As for Instagram, I'm intending on posting more regularly, but sometimes the work I'm doing isn't necessarily very postable, and I feel awkward when I just post random things that are abstract in nature, or just kind of almost like throwaway. But I think just for the sake of keeping that Instagram alive, I should start doing that some more. So yeah, that's what's happened since the last time we spoke. I hope that you guys are excited for the game like I am. I can't wait to share it with you guys. And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, get some more updates, get some of those videos I mentioned earlier, as well as to the Instagram. Don't forget to check out the Steam page, drop it a wish list if you haven't already. And yeah, I'll see you next time.